Hey friends, I've got Tale of Despereaux here and I want to restart the book. I know we had started it in class together, but for those who were not in class at that time or absent, I'm going to restart the book so that we can all get caught up together and continue to read while we're away from school. So this is The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Anyway, she's a #1 New York Times bestselling author, and this book, among all of her books, do really well with our age friends. And this book has a Newbery Medal, which just means it's a really good book. She's also written Because of Winn-Dixie. I recommend you read that if you have it. It's really good. Okay, it's 5 AR points, so that's something you can be looking forward to taking at the end of this. The Tale of Despereaux, being the story of a mouse, a princess, some soup, and a spool of thread by Kate DiCamillo. So there's different books. Here is the index page. There are 4 different books, and we're going to read all of them because just like The Wild Robot, these chapters are smaller. So I'm going to read a couple each time I come on and make a video. Okay. Book the first, A Mouse is Born. The world is dark, and light is precious. Come closer, dear reader. You must trust me. I am telling you a story. Book the first, A Mouse is Born. Chapter 1, the last one. This story begins within the walls of a castle, with the birth of a mouse, a small mouse, the last mouse born to his parents, and the only one of his litter to be born alive. "Where are my babies?" said the exhausted mother when the ordeal was through. "Show me my babies." The father mouse held the one small mouse up high. "This is the only one," he said. "The others are dead." "Mon Dieu, just this one baby mouse?" "Just this one." "Will you name him?" "All of that work for nothing," said the mother. She sighed. "It is so sad. It is such the disappointment." She was a French mouse who had arrived at the castle long ago in the luggage of a visiting French diplomat. Disappointment was one of her favorite words. She used it often. "Will you name him?" repeated the father. "Will I name him? Will I name him? Of course I will name him, but he will only die like the others. Oh, so sad. Oh, such the tragedy." The mother mouse held a handkerchief to her nose and then waved it in front of her face. She sniffed. "I will name him. Yes, I will name this mouse Despereaux, for all the sadness, for the many despairs in this place. Now where is my mirror?" Her husband handed her a small shard of mirror. The mother mouse, whose name was Antoinette, looked at her reflection and gasped aloud. "Talise," she said to one of her sons, "get me my makeup bag. My eyes are a fright." While Antoinette touched up her eye makeup, the mouse father put Despereaux down on a bed made of blanket scraps. The April sun, weak but determined, shone through a castle window, and from there squeezed itself through a small hole in the wall and placed one golden finger on the little mouse. The other, older mice, gathered around to stare at Despereaux. "His ears are too big," said his sister Merlot. "Those are the biggest ears I've ever seen." "Look," a brother named Furlough said. "His eyes are open, Pa." "His eyes are open? They shouldn't be open." It is true. Despereaux's eyes should not have been open, but they were. He was staring at the sun reflecting off of his mother's mirror. The sun was shining onto the ceiling in an oval of brilliance, and he was smiling up at the sight. "There is something wrong with him," said the father. "Leave him alone." Despereaux's brothers and sisters stepped back, away from the new mouse. "This is the last," proclaimed Antoinette from her bed. "I will have no more mice babies. They are such a disappointment. They are hard on my beauty. They ruin, for me, my looks. This is the last one. No more." "The last one," said the father, "and he'll be dead soon." "He can't live, not with his eyes open like that." But reader, he did live. This is his story. Chapter 2, Such a Disappointment. Despereaux Tilling lived, but his existence was cause for much speculation in the mouse community. "He's the smallest mouse I've ever seen," said his Aunt Florence. "It's ridiculous. No mouse has ever ever been this small, not even a tilling. She looked at Despereaux through narrowed eyes, as if she expected him to disappear entirely. "No mouse," she said again, "ever." Despereaux, his tail wrapped around his feet, stared back at her. "Those are some big ears he's got, too," observed his Uncle Alfred. "They look more like donkey ears, if you ask me." "They are obscenely large ears," said Aunt Florence. Despereaux wiggled his ears. "They say he was born with his eyes open," whispered Uncle Alfred. Despereaux stared hard at his uncle. "Impossible," said Aunt Florence. "No mouse, no matter how small or obscenely large-eared, is ever born with his eyes open. It simply isn't done." "His pa, Lester, said he's not well," said Uncle Alfred. Despereaux sneezed. He said nothing in defense of himself. How could he? Everything his aunt and uncle said were true. He was ridiculously small. His ears were obscenely large. He had been born with his eyes open, and he was sickly. He coughed and sneezed so often that he carried a handkerchief in one paw at all times. He ran temperatures. He fainted at loud noises. Most alarming of all, he showed no interest in the things a mouse should show interest in. He did not think constantly of food. He was not intent on tracking down every crumb. While his larger, older siblings ate, Despereaux stood, with his head cocked to the side, holding very still. "I hear the sound of cake crumbs falling out of people's mouths and hitting the floor," said his brother Talise. "That's what I hear." "Do you hear that sweet, sweet sound?" he said. "It's something else. It's like, honey." "You might have big ears," said Talise, "but they're not attached right to your brain. You don't hear honey. You smell honey. When there's honey to smell, which there isn't." "Son," barked Despereaux's father, "snap to it. Get your head out of the clouds and hunt for crumbs." "Please," said his mother, "look for the crumbs. Eat them to make your mama happy. You are such the skinny mouse. You are a disappointment to your mama." "Sorry," said Despereaux. He lowered his head and sniffed the castle floor. But reader, he was not smelling. He was listening with his big ears to the sweet sound that no other mouse seemed to hear. That's chapters 1 and 2. I have some questions that I would love for you to answer in the description box, and I'll be back soon with more chapters. See ya, friends.